As crypto goes down, so do GPU prices. Meta decides it's gonna build a fast computer to make sure it knows everything about you, and malware that's hiding in your BIOS chip. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're gonna be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast. And we're gonna start off today talking about the fact that, hey, you didn't expect this, but Meme Review is back over on our second channel, Brainus, which is linked in the video description. We review the memes that y'all submit over on our subreddit. They have to be tech themed, but that's the general idea. You can get beauty such as this, the 3090 Ti's Grill Force 2 Electric Boogaloo, bringing back an old classic. But it's something that Reece, Catlin, and I are going to be doing on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern over on Twitch. So if you want to watch live there, or if you just want to submit your memes, the link subreddit will be linked in the video description for you. We had a great time bringing it back for the first revival episode of Me and Live. You can check out the video as well as potentially going and submitting your memes for the reviews that's happening. But instead of talking about the drop of memes, we're going to talk about the drop of GPU prices, thanks potentially due to both the crypto stuff that's going on and maybe some other stuff that's going on behind the scenes, because there are several outlets reporting that they are seeing a month-on-month price decrease in GPUs, whether it be Team Red or Team Green. Looking at GPU prices over in Europe, it's currently down to 177% of MSRP, down from the 185% that it was at the beginning of January, and down from the 187 that it was at the beginning of December. You can see that it's still higher than it was a few months ago, but it's trending downward at this point for both Nvidia and AMD. And as Video Cards points out, the percentage pricing should actually be lower because Nvidia just raised the MSRP of their cards in Europe. So that means that the profit that scalpers are getting would actually be less. And so the numbers would continue to go down. But that's not the only GPU pricing hope that I have for you, okay? Because Tom's Hardware also did their own research looking at eBay pricing to see what's actually available out on the open market right now for buying things. And they found that on average, most GPUs are 5% lower in price than they were just about a month ago. And this is happening even with fewer cards being available on eBay. So it's not just a drop in supplies leading to higher prices, but the drop in supply is not seeming to matter at all. You can see some of these GPUs being affected in double digits. The RTX 3080 dropping 11.6%, probably due to the RTX 3080 12 gig that got announced, released. Did that ever really actually happen? And then as well on AMD's side, you can see the RX 6600 dropping 11.6% in price. So it does seem like in general, it looks like prices are starting to decrease, at least in the open market. Whether or not Nvidia is raising the prices and saying, hey, we're going to charge you more, you weren't paying those prices for the most part anyways. So the open market prices are the ones that we're looking at here. If you went to go buy a GPU today, what would you be paying? And it looks like those prices continue to go down as the months progress, which we talked about in yesterday's episode of Hot News. Could be a possibility due to the crypto market just having a really rough time, just pooping itself all over the floor, which is not a good thing. But there's also a potential other explanation, which is potentially the substrate shortage that has plagued not just GPUs, but all sort of silicon production might actually be alleviating as it goes on. Both PowerColor and ASRock indicating to DigiTimes that there might be an alleviation of this sometime in mid-2022, which is a lot earlier than the previous claims that it was going to be sometime in 2025. So it does look like the ABF substrate market may potentially be getting better, which might make it so that it's easier to produce GPUs, which might make it so that it's easier to get GPUs, which might make it so that there's more available at MSRP. And then if you combine that with the crypto market having a harder time mining for the same amount of profitability, we could be back brewing for the perfect storm of reasonable GPU prices again. Obviously, a lot of this is speculation at this point. The pricing going down, not necessarily speculation, but anything that might happen in the future obviously is, and the crypto market might rebound. It's hard to say what's going on there, but let's go ahead and talk about Cryptostonks for a second, because the crypto market is rebounding a little bit, slightly, all right? Bitcoin's up 5.7% on the day to be at over $37,000. It's back over $700 billion market cap, increasing quite considerably in the last 24 hours. Ethereum also up 1.7% to be at 2464. Dogecoin also up a little under 1% to sit at 13.9 cents. What did not have a good day at all was the stocks in general, but also the meme stonks. Oh my gosh, GameStop down below $100 for the first time in a long time, being down 6.1% on the day as I'm filming closes in about 3 minutes. AMC down 7.1% to sit at $16.68. Just a rough time overall for the Cryptostonks. Speaking of money things, have you been connecting your bank account to different apps like Venmo or Robinhood or anything else that makes your login through Plaid? Well, in case that happened, you could be entitled to financial compensation because there is a lawsuit that was settled against Plaid for taking more financial data than they needed to in order for you to log into your bank accounts to connect all of that across using their service. They claim that there was no wrongdoing here, but they're agreeing to pay $58 million out to all consumers who had linked data accounts to them through the 5,000 financial apps that they support. So in case you want to get potentially part of this, because this is something that I know that I've used Plaid on several occasions to log into different things, you can check it out at the link in the video description. There's the Plaid settlement FAQ that you can look at and see, are you entitled to financial compensation? Have you or a loved one experienced Plaid?
They've gone to Plaid.
And while there's no financial compensation from this directly, the James Webb Space Telescope's bringing a lot of wholesome compensation because it's now reached its staying place. It's where it's gonna be, the residing point, the L2 Lagrange point 2, where it's just gonna sit and capture all of the images that are supposed to be beautiful and lovely for us to see as humans of things that are going on in the observable and potentially for humans non-observable universe. Anyways, it hit the L2 point, which is where it's gonna stay. I'm excited for this. The Lagrange point is essentially a gravity stable area where it's equally pulled by the Earth and the sun, where it can kind of sit there without having to use a whole lot of actual fuel, which gives it its lifespan of 10 to 20 years of emission so that we can continue to get beautiful images out in space. And obviously, as I've mentioned before, we're waiting until about July-ish before we get our first images out of that. But we're getting our first images of the future that Zucks wants to build for us because the Meta supercomputer that they have, the AI Research Supercluster, or RSC, that they're building, they're saying it's going to be the fastest supercomputer on the planet, okay? 5 exaflops of mixed precision computing, which is actually pretty huge because I think a lot of the ones that are currently in development are supposed to be going up to 2 exaflops. So they're stacking the deck on that and saying, hey, look at us. We're going to be able to tell if you're in a relationship with somebody before you even met them because we got this AI research, all right? We know what conspiracy theory, rabbit hole Facebook groups you're going to be a part of, and we're going to automatically add you to them, okay? We know you're going to be in VR. We see where your eyes are darting because AI is telling us what your face is doing, and we're gonna put the ads in the precise right location that you're gonna see them for a split second and be like, hey, did I really see that? And it's not even gonna be there anymore, but then you're gonna have it in the back of your mind being like, why would they just randomly show me something for half a second? That's gonna be the new ad structure, okay? Just giving you a glimpse enough that you're like, wait, what was that about? Did that say Coca-Cola? And then you have Coca-Cola in the back of your mind, not because the ad was good, but because it messes with you and your reality. That's exactly what Facebook is going for here with the RSC that they're building up. Currently, it has 760 NVIDIA DGX A100 systems with a ton of GPUs, and they're going to be adding more and more onto that to make sure that they are the most precise artificial intelligence center in the world for all of the things that you're doing on the internets.
A computer of such infinite and subtle complexity that organic life itself shall form part of its operational matrix.
And I see you doing some sketchy thing on the internet sometimes too, all right? I know the websites you frequent, okay? Club Penguin's dead. Going to the Club Penguin knockoff, that's just malware, baby. And there's new malware you should be worried about that could potentially hide itself into your BIOS chip and make it so that if you wipe your drive, hey, it's still there. You thought by not keeping anything on your local drive, things were gonna be okay? Nope, your entire PC is now infected. Kaspersky coming out with the new mention of this SPI flash invading malware called Moonbounce, which infects itself into SPI flash, as it makes sense that it would because I said that's how it does it. Good job, Brett. But while it's not the world's first SPI flash setup, Kaspersky is saying that it shows significant advancement with a more complicated attack flow and greater technical sophistication that makes it so that it's easier to get into that SPI flash and make it so that your computer could be infected. There is currently only one system in Kaspersky's logs of things that have this infection on it, and it was a transport company. So it might not necessarily be something that you have to worry about imminently, but just know that you and your loved ones could be vulnerable even after you clean it. What does that mean? And Intel wants to clean house with money by getting all of the ASIC mining profits that they're having. And Nontech recently coming out with a report based on a document that they've received that gives us more technical details on the Bonanza Mine ASIC miners that they're going to be bringing out for crypto miners to be able to mine Bitcoin with their stuff, having both the BZM1 and BZM2 ASIC miners based on Intel's in-house 7nm production as well as TSMC's 5nm production, and showing that it is remarkably efficient, coming in at 18.2 watts per terahash, which is more efficient than a lot of the other ASIC miners that are out on the market, and potentially the BZM2 could be even more efficient than that, with not specific numbers being given out to that. Obviously, we don't have a whole ton of details how much money Intel's going to charge for these things, but there is some indication that this could potentially be better for the Bitcoin market overall because it would be domestically produced here in the US, and since China's banned it, having Chinese companies produce that means that there's a 25% tariff that's added on to all of that, so having domestic availability and production could lower the cost and barriers of entry to get into Bitcoin mining in the US and make it more available for all of the companies that have millions of dollars to invest in it, because that's probably the only reason Intel's taking on the risk, is because they can sell them out ahead of time before the crypto market crashes and be like, too bad, you signed a contract, you have to pay us. And we're just gonna sue you for everything you have because you died in the dip. And I'm gonna die in this dip of no hot news, because I'll see you tomorrow. It's a metaphysical dying in my head of news being the hot news guy. I should still be alive tomorrow, hopefully. See you tomorrow for more news.